Hi, this is Paul Acevedo with Windows Phone Central.
Hi, my name is Brian Lindley. I'm the producer for Plants vs. Zombies Garden Warfare.
At a glance, what is Garden Warfare?
Garden Warfare is a multiplayer action shooter game set in the Plants vs. Zombies universe. So what we've tried to do is take the things we love about multiplayer shooters and kind of smash that together with what people love about Plants vs. Zombies. So lots of humor, great characters, kind of colorful, beautiful environments for next-gen platforms.
And what inspired you to branch off of Plants vs. Zombies in this way?
I think PopCap recognized that PvZ was getting incredibly popular on mobile and PC and felt that there was a ton of potential with just the universe of Plants vs. Zombies. And so, a little over 2 years ago, just started thinking about what kind of different types of games could we expand PvZ into. And while this doesn't maybe seem like the most logical extension, once we actually started concepting and prototyping the idea around a multiplayer shooter with PvZ, it just kind of clicked and made sense, and that's kind of what kicked us off in the beginning.
And what are some of the PvZ touches?
A lot of the characters, so you'll see a lot of the same characters from the original PvZ as well as PvZ2 in the game. I mean, the entire plant team is basically characters that we've taken from the original PvZ, but they're now playable as third-person shooter characters. So the characters are a big one. The environments as well. So one of the levels that we build, we kind of internally call it Suburbia, but it's like a 3D version of the backyard that you would defend in PvZ. We definitely sort of build out from there on that concept of kind of the battle for brains in the neighborhood and expanding just out around the idea of the backyard and the graveyard for sure. And just the touches of humor and the sensibility of Plants vs. Zombies of being kind of charming and playful. These are all the things that we try to kind of keep central to the experience. So even though it's PvZ like you've never seen it before, it still feels like the universe of PvZ when you're playing the game.
And does this game share some DNA with the Battlefield series?
Absolutely does. So Garden Warfare is being built on the Frostbite 3 engine. So all the cool technology that DICE has been building and putting in the engine for games like Battlefield 4 are built into sort of the DNA of this game. It's got the DNA of a great popular shooter sort of already welded into the engine that we're using.
Is that part of why there's not an actual campaign mode?
No, it's more of us really trying to focus in on making a great kind of multiplayer shooter first. And then building around that as our foundation. So, obviously we consider doing things like a campaign and single player, but what we ultimately wanted to do was make a fun multiplayer game, so that's where we focused a lot of our energy.
Do you think there's the potential for Garden Warfare to have sequels in the future?
Depending on how it does, I think this really is a launching point for a new franchise in online. So our hope is that players really take to the concept and enjoy the game, and that allows us to build on that foundation with more games and more things.
Are there any offline features?
There is no offline modes per se. On Xbox One, we do have a local split screen mode, so you will be able to play a version of our cooperative mode, but with 2 players on the couch in kind of a split screen mode. So that's you playing as 2 plants trying to survive kind of against endless hordes of zombies. But that's really kind of the only sort of offline mode that we have.
And does progress made in split screen apply to the player's overall profile?
Yeah, so we try to keep the progression and the player's kind of state completely kind of carried through all the modes. So no matter how you're playing the game, you're getting credit for it. You're earning points, you're earning all the things to progress your characters and your player rank.
What is the purpose of leveling up?
So the purpose of leveling up is just getting more cool stuff for your characters and sort of just advancing your skill level with that character. So the level up system is a very simple sort of challenge style system where you're earning stars by completing challenges, and those challenges are really based around playing that character skillfully and effectively as a teammate. So really your mastery of the character should improve as you're leveling up.
Can you tell us a little bit about balancing the 2 sides of the conflict?
Yeah, so we have a bit of an asymmetrical sort of faction design. So the plants are kind of very defensive by nature, and the zombies obviously are offensive because they're always on the attack, wanting to get brains. So for us, it's been a bit of a challenge, really, honestly, to balance an asymmetrical approach like that. But we spent a lot of time playtesting and iterating and looking at the balance of how effectively and powerful particular characters are to make sure that it's fair and balanced across the board. And the best way to do that is just through a lot of playtesting and iteration, which is kind of the approach we've taken.
How does customization work?
So customization works a couple of different ways. One, you can actually customize the entire costume of a character. That actually takes some changes and implements them in the primary weapon. And you also have a bunch of different sort of accessories and visual customizations that you can apply to your characters that just let you personalize them, but don't have necessarily any gameplay impact. So that's funny hats, different glasses, tattoos, all kinds of crazy things to make your character look however you want out on the battlefield.
I understand the downloadable content for this game will be free?
Yeah, one of the approaches that we're wanting to take is make sure that when we're expanding the game with more content that we just allow the whole community to play with it. We didn't want to split up the community between people that have things and don't have content and creating a kind of a paywall there. So the important thing for us is that as we're expanding and creating new content for the game, everyone gets to share in that, including additional maps and modes and customization options for their characters.
And how will the in-app purchases work?
So we haven't revealed a ton of details on that at this point, but what we're really focused on is providing players tons of cool things that they're going to constantly be earning through our coins in our card pack system. So players will be able to accelerate that somewhat if they want to through monetization, but if you're just playing the game normally, you'll constantly be getting a stream of cool stuff through the card pack system no matter what.
Can you talk about the technical aspects of the Xbox One version?
Sure. So the Xbox One obviously is, much more powerful than the Xbox 360, so that benefits the game in a number of ways. Obviously, frame rate and resolution, so the game will be running at 60 frames a second. Obviously, the visuals are going to be a huge step forward for the title on the Xbox One platform. And then there's just the things that the Xbox One platform is sort of bringing to the fore. Things like game DVR, where you'll be able to record clips and share clips of your gameplay from the game, and new things like the party system and achievements and challenge achievements and stuff like that they're going to be new, a bit new and different from Xbox 360 on the Xbox One. We're definitely taking advantage of those.
And since you're launching on both Xbox platforms simultaneously, how do you manage the dual release where one set of hardware is more powerful than the other?
Well, I mean, thankfully Frostbite is built as a cross-platform engine, so for us it's really just a matter of making sure that all of our infrastructure is up and tested and ready to go, and it's going to survive the initial wave on both of those platforms. Obviously, the 360 players won't necessarily have all the benefits of the Xbox One with the advanced, the additional power and the better graphics and frame rate, but they're still going to have a fun experience, and vice versa on the Xbox One.
And can you tell me a little about the game's sound design?
Yeah, so we have a very sort of playful approach to the characters, their weapon sounds, and kind of the ambient sounds in the world. Again, we've taken a lot of inspiration from the original PvZ, but we have to make something that still feels appropriate for kind of a shooter action game. So we've iterated a ton on the character's core kind of weapon abilities, vocalizations, things of that nature, so that the player kind of feels immersed in kind of this fun cartoonish universe, and the sounds will reflect that as well as the visuals.
And who's the composer for the game?
Composer is Peter McConnell. He's actually composed for a number of games in the past, but he's also composing for a number of Plants vs. Zombie games as well.
And we'll hear some of the classic themes from the original game in this?
You'll have variants of them for sure, and some of the classic tunes as well.
When can we play Garden Warfare?
So Garden Warfare is shipping on Xbox One, Xbox 360 on February 18th, 2014. We have announced a PC version, but haven't yet announced a release date for that. It's going to be $40 on Xbox One, $30 on Xbox 360, and if you pre-order, you get 2 card packs, digital card packs in the game with cool customization items.
Awesome, thanks a lot.
You're welcome.